Okay, so in the last tutorial we looked at image tracing and we looked at the basic fundamental use of a lot of tools, okay? And so I hope you've had a chance to experiment with those. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at specific use of said tools in order to organize layers properly. So to illustrate, at this point in time we have simply an image traced image, okay? We've gone through the same process that we did before, but essentially we need to be able to break this up into different sections, okay? So with that in mind, we're going to start organizing this by layers, okay? I'm going to make a new layer. You should have a layer window. You should be able to see that. I don't necessarily need to see the color wheel at this point in time. So we just pop that up there, and we don't need the image trace one. So we just really need the layers at this point in time. We're going to use some tools. So for example, I can grab this chap here, okay? If I click with the normal selection tool, I click and grab the whole thing. If I zoom in, Command plus, if I zoom in, I'll be able to grab this chap here if I use this direct selection tool. Select and drag to make a marquee so that I can only drag that. Now I'm going to copy this image, or even cut. I'm actually going to cut. I'm going to cut the image, and then I'm going to paste the image into my new layer. So select the new layer, edit, paste. There you go. Now you can see that that portion of the image has been moved into a different layer. One has highlighted by blue, it has blue outlines, the other is highlighted by red outlines, okay? Now there are other ways in which you can select shapes, okay? So let's grab something else and say we want to put it in a new layer. I'm going to make a new layer, and then we're going to go about doing a different thing. So say this image, possibly I could select that simply with the direct selection tool, but I'm going to try doing a different way. So there's a lot of times when it wouldn't necessarily work. So actually I'm going to grab this one. This one would be very, very difficult for me to actually select the whole of, okay, and I'll illustrate why. I've selected the whole of that, but what it's done is it's taken certain anchor points from other areas, okay? So that's not necessarily going to work. I can't use the marquee properly. So I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more, and then we are going to find this tool, the lasso tool, okay? What the lasso tool does is it draws a selection, okay? So there you can see a difference. I've selected certain anchor points but not others, okay? So we're going to just very carefully go around the gaps, and we're going to select what we want to keep, okay? Go around everything. Be very careful. And once I've done that, I've selected everything. Now copy or cut. Now it's Command X to cut. And then in my new layer, it's going to be Command V. And there I go. On a new layer, you can see that it is selected as green. Okay? Essentially, that's the easiest way to go around selecting certain layers, but there are other things that you can do. So say, for example, we have an image that you want to grab. Let's find one that's going to work. Like, say, for example, this image or this image underneath. You want to grab that image, but there are attachments. Unfortunately, the only way in which you can do this is to get to erasing. So go back to the layer in which you're working in and start getting rid of the bits that you don't want. We do that and that. Now I should be able to use my lasso tool to grab the bits that I want and discard everything else. Ah, you know what? I've done that. Well, that, if anything, will help us ascertain what will happen if we actually try to select something. So we've only at this point in time selected the anchor points within the lasso tools range. We're going to go Command C. I'm going to make a new layer, and we're going to go Command V. Okay. So when we don't separate the image in some way, it tends to have some detrimental effects to the object. but all of the paths and things like that seem to still be there. I wonder what would happen if I press delete now. Yeah, actually it's taken away those paths and objects. Okay, so I'm going to try that just one more time. Get rid of that chap, and I am going to erase that section there, and then we're going to try that one more time. So lasso. Oh, that's not the lasso, that one's the lasso. Oh, it's hold your breath style work. Okay, so we've grabbed something now. Let's hope that it works this time. So Command X, new layer, Command V. There you go. You can see the difference there. Okay, so it's important that you separate before you transfer. Okay, so that's essentially what we've been able to do there. We've got three different sections to play with. Okay, next time we make a video, what we're going to do is these will be colored, and we're going to see how we can then import these layers into new programs and see what they do there. Okay, so I will play around with these a bit. In the next video you'll be able to see what you can do with separated layers once they're separated. Okay, so thank you very much.